Hey there, my name is Alex, I am the Silver Mont, and welcome to the year 2017, and say goodbye to 2016. Just a channel update video here to wrap up last year and look ahead to this coming year. It might be a little late to wrap up 2016 at this point, but in all fairness, I'm writing the majority of this in December, I'm recording this in December, and the reason the video's going up now, well, I have a reason for that. It might not be a good reason, but we'll get to that shortly. Well, first up, let's wrap up last year. What did you think of the year? So far as game releases go, we of course had a Dark Souls 3. That was probably the biggest one for me, and I imagine many people, but I think perhaps the one I looked forwards to the most, personally, was Final Fantasy 15. I think Witcher 3 also came out, or was that the year before? I don't remember. I think it was the year before actually, but whatever. But yes, Final Fantasy 15. This might seem odd because I enjoy Dark Souls more than Final Fantasy, and even more odd when I add to that I'm starting to get franchise fatigue from Dark Souls, because this is only the third Dark Souls game compared to the 15th Final Fantasy, not including the probably 20 plus spin-offs. It's weird how things like this turn out, huh? Whilst I love Dark Souls 3, I love all the Souls games and Bloodborne, I feel like 3 was too safe. At this point, the second DLC isn't out, so let's see how that goes. Even though I don't particularly enjoy the themes of Bloodborne, the Victorian horror, the eldritch themes, all the constant oppression, it doesn't really gel with me. I loved how fresh the game felt in a lot of ways, you know? I preferred the themes of Dark Souls 3, the fantasy themes, but I think Bloodborne is a better game because it took more risks. Blood Gems and Chalice dungeons kinda sucked if you ask me, but they were new. Transforming weapons were new, they were great. To go from that to Dark Souls 3, it was frustrating. Dark Souls 3 really just feels like a fan sequel to the first Dark Souls. I've considered making a whole video purely on this subject, but I feel like people give Dark Souls 2 way too much unwarranted bad press, too much shit. Back at release, people were screaming about how Dark Souls 2 was full of fan service for the first Dark Souls, like, oh look, they're constantly mentioning this and that. Where were those people a few years later when Dark Souls 3 literally includes Anor Londo, and essentially the same exact story? Dark Souls 2 has its flaws, and they are many and profound, but I appreciate that the game tried to be different and new. Sometimes it's better to try and fail than to half-ass out something everyone knows you can do. I think Dark Souls 3 is a higher quality game than Dark Souls 2, but to be honest, I think I prefer Dark Souls 2 because it felt new and exciting to me more than Dark Souls 3, which was too much fan service for me personally. Again, I don't think it's a bad game, I just think they played it a little too safe. And I want to reiterate something real quick. I love Dark Souls, I love Dark Souls 2, I love Dark Souls 3, I love Bloodborne, I love Demon Souls. I think they are all great games. Even if I complain about one of them, that doesn't mean I hate it. I don't fanboy any of the games, they all have their flaws, but they are all still great games. To me. But next up, if we get more Souls, I want it to be something new and exciting. I don't want a game full of, hehe, remember this from Dark Souls 1? Because yes, I do remember, and if I wanted to play Dark Souls 1 again, I would play Dark Souls 1 again. Speaking of which, I'm looking at some point to do another Let's Play of the first Dark Souls. It's been a while since I played the game, and although I already have 2 playthroughs up on my channel, my very first Let's Play, oh my god that was rubbish, and a Soul Level 1 run. I want to do a new one for 2 big reasons. First up, I want to have another Let's Play archived for the purpose of having higher quality footage. Whenever I need footage from the first game, my archived footage is very low quality. YouTube didn't properly support 30 FPS, let alone 60 FPS back when I started making videos. I'm also hoping that sometime in the next cycle of the entire universe, British Telecom will install fibre optics so that I can upload videos in less than like 8 hours. I'm also looking to upgrade my own hardware at some point. I can record and render in 1080p now, even on my PC, but the file size is so enormous that it's a little unreasonable most of the time to attempt uploading there. And YouTube now supports 4K video. I think that's a tad excessive all things considered, but 1080p would be a good bump. I'm largely using the same hardware now as I was in 2013. My PC wasn't good in 2013 and it's not good now. I've been saving up money here and there for years though, and hopefully that will come to fruition. The second reason is I just want to play Dark Souls again. Having higher quality footage for remade lore videos is a bonus, and I do want to recreate my first lore videos at some point. I want to trim out the fat. If you've seen my early lore videos, you'll know that they are basically me rambling for like 20 minutes in what could be said in 10 minutes. I want to use better footage, I want to include new information from the sequels, and generally just improve them as much as I can. But largely, I just want to. And that has been the theme of my channel for the last few years. I do what I want when I want to. I keep a schedule and I stick to it, but for the most part I cover games that I feel like. I don't cover games, I don't make videos for what I think or know will make me the most money. And right now I'm feeling like Dark Souls 1 would be a good topic to go back to. I'm also really hoping they would release it on PS4 or re-release it on PC to make it run a little smoother, but that's neither here nor there. That said, what would you like to see as someone tries to distract me on Twitter? If there is anything in particular, do let me know. And obviously you can do that on any video, but this one in particular I feel is a good place to put in any suggestions if you have them. My network contract with Machinima expires around April 2017, at which point I'll either be leaving the network or renegotiating with them for a better contract. If you don't know what a YouTube network is, they are typically called MCNs, multi-channel networks, and exist largely to take advantage of people. Example, they take a cut of the money your channel makes in exchange for offering services. And that's a great legal term, isn't it? Services. If you were to sue them saying, you don't actually offer anything, they would say, no, we offer services. Their services don't have to be useful though, they can be the bare minimum. It has to be the bare minimum for them to hold up from a legal perspective. So they don't get sued by everyone. They're pretty clever on that front. So in other words, you're losing a chunk of your money and often getting nothing in exchange for that. If you're a massive YouTuber with millions of subscribers, it's very different. But networks tend to favour quantity over quality. If they have 1 million people in their network, each one making $10 a month, and they're getting 70% of that money, they're getting $7 out of every $10 in exchange for having to do nothing, yeah, that's a pretty damn clever scheme. That's a good way to make money. Hats off to them. I've had my issues with Machinima, but now those will hopefully be coming to an end. Outcome A, I leave the network and I'm free to find another or just stay unpartnered. Outcome B, I negotiate a contract to my liking. Outside of that, I might attempt some new avenues of revenue and income for my channel in the future. If you don't know, I YouTube, that's a weird way to put it, I make videos for a living. This is my job. That's always been something I struggle with though. I get offers several times a week, and you wouldn't believe some of the ones that come in. I've seen publishers or developers offer as much as $500 simply to cover one of their games. So how much do you think they are paying the big channels exponentially larger than mine with an audience 10 times the size? Would I cover some game I had zero interest in for $500? Probably, as I can't afford not to with the amount I make from YouTube. It isn't much. At the same time, I think it's very important to be transparent about these details. Even ignoring the legal aspects of it, it's important for consumers to have as much information as they can get. Example, EA sent me a copy of Titanfall 2 out of the blue, a digital copy, so I reviewed it. I also enjoyed the game a lot. If I had hated it, I would have probably also reviewed it. If I had strong feelings one way or the other, I would have reviewed it. If it was just bland, inoffensive, I would have not bothered making any videos on it. But it's definitely important to mention that this isn't a game I would have bought otherwise. I wouldn't have bought Titanfall 2, as it just wasn't really my kind of game. I get a lot of offers and follow through maybe on 5% of them, but I might increase that a bit, largely because as my channel grows, I seem to be getting better and more interesting offers. There's still, like, do you want to make a video on this mobile phone game that you don't care about and probably one person in the world cares about? Well, I mean, I still get those, but I'm also getting things like EA sending me a copy of Titanfall 2, a game I had no interest in, but ended up loving. Like, it was one of my favourite FPS games in a long time. and I'm actually kind of getting into the multiplayer. It's a weird line to tread, ethically, morally, or whatever. I get money from YouTube, I get money from Patreon. If I ever made so much money from YouTube that I could pay my bills and live a comfortable lifestyle, I could shut down my Patreon quite happily. At the moment, the only reason I have Patreon going is because I do need it. I don't make that much money, and yet I'm stubbornly refusing to make more money that I could be making just because I don't know, ethics or morals or something stupid like that. And everyone is going to have a different moral compass in that aspect. I don't think there's anything wrong with large YouTubers covering games purely for the money. As long as they're transparent about it, of course. Do I personally do that? Not really. Even were I a large YouTuber, I'd only take games that offer some semblance of interest to me. I'm not covering FIFA or Madden. Okay, maybe if I get $1,000, I'll make a 20-minute video complaining about how I have no idea what the hell is going on in American football, but, you know, for me, it's more about the interest than the money. Unfortunately, money is very important. YouTube is both a job and a hobby for me, and that complicates things somewhat, but I try and remain as upfront and honest about it as possible. Yes, I am doing this for the money. It's primarily a hobby, but the money is very important. Because most of the time, videos I want to make aren't really being made for the purpose of money. It's just because I wanted to make a video on it. Even my lore videos, which generally make the most amount of money, they're not being made primarily because of that, but because I like talking about the lore. If you knew me personally, you would know that I have a slight obsessive behaviour. When I like something, or someone, or someone or something. I think that about covers all the areas. I get really into it. I absorb all of the information I can. That's why I'm somehow still so obsessed with Dark Souls, like half a decade after release. That's games and YouTube. What about movies? 2016 wasn't a great year for movies from my perspective. At time of writing, it's, what is it today? It's, let me check, what day is it? It's December 7th, so I don't think Rogue One is out yet. I'm probably not even going to see it. Force Awakens felt sterile to me, and Rogue One even more so. I can't muster up any enthusiasm in it. I'll probably catch it on DVD or something, but Disney are turning Star Wars into a robotic franchise. Maybe that's appropriate considering half the cast are robots. But when I watch most Disney products, and understand, this isn't limited to Disney, this is very much Hollywood in a nutshell right now. I don't feel like I'm watching the film. I'm watching the producers who sat around discussing how every little possible thing can be done to maximize the film's profits or to beat into my head some sort of stupid political message. That probably sounds really pretentious, doesn't it? Maybe. But it's not like I only watch little indie films or whatever. I don't really watch indie films, come to think of it. I enjoy dumb action movies. I love dumb action movies. Pacific Rim is one of my favourite movies of recent years. Same with John Wick. But I can feel the passion that went into those. Marvel and Disney films really feel soulless to me personally. And that is quite an achievement, making something about superheroes feel cold, manufactured, and sterile. That doesn't mean bad, it just means cold and sterile. Speaking of which, John Wick is getting a sequel. Pacific Rim is getting a sequel. How will they hold up? I guess we'll find out. Not many movies I'm hyped for or anything though. I don't think I've been hyped for a movie since John Wick. And before that, The Raid 2. And before that, Lord of the Rings. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen The Raid 1 and 2, those are awesome action movies. The second one in particular is very different from the first, but man, they're great. Go watch those now. So how about games in 2017? Well, remember when I said there's a reason for putting the video out now and not at the end of 2016? This is it. 2 games with similar names are coming out in early 2017. Nioh and NieR. Or Nioh. I don't know how you're meant to pronounce that. Nioh is a Dark Souls style samurai game. NieR is a robot waifu Dante kills people kind of game. I'm very interested in both. Nioh, I probably don't need to explain why. I mean, I've been following Nioh since before Demon Souls even existed, so the fact that it is like a Dark Souls game is just an added bonus. As for NieR, well, It's not because the main character is a cute, white-haired robot girl, but rather because I love Platinum games. I think I've played almost every Platinum game, and I've loved almost all of them. I haven't played the Wonderful 101, or whatever it's called, but I've played, what is this, Bayonetta, Vanquish, Metal Gear Rising, there's probably others, but I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I love Platinum games. In fact, it isn't long until Nioh comes out, or NieR. What do you think? Should I do a Let's Play for Nioh? I'll almost certainly do a review, as I know I'm buying it, but a Let's Play? Not too sure on that. See, I won't be able to offer any insight on the game, nor probably any tips either. It would almost exclusively just be me and my reactions. If I like the game enough to play through it like 5 times, then yeah, I could do a playthrough offering hints. When the game comes out, I'm gonna suck at it. Would you like to see that? A blind playthrough of me sucking at Nioh and dying constantly? If you do, then I'll do it. Actually, honestly, I might play through the game off camera just so I don't have to stress about recording, and then I might do a Let's Play, but either way, don't backseat or I will genuinely break your fingers. As for NieR, same for that. I'm excited for the game and somewhat interested in covering it. I'm thinking definitely a review for NieR, maybe a Let's Play. Beyond those two, Dark Souls 3 DLC is on the horizon, and I'll keep making lore videos until I feel I've covered both the important stuff and the stuff that I want to. There's still lore videos I want to make for Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne. I've had a Voltaire script for Bloodborne sitting on my computer like half finished for, yeah, a year now, come to think of it. Then there's Demon Souls. One day I will get around to making lore videos for Demon Souls. All in all, expect more of the same for 2017. Lore videos, Souls videos, Let's Plays, plenty of stupid videos. Has the Resident Evil 6 Silver montage come up yet? If it has, go and watch it. If it hasn't, then hold that thought and watch it when it comes out, because the Resident Evil 6 Silver montage is the perfect example of why I love doing YouTube. That video is probably not going to make me like any money, but I had so much fun making it. I've watched it like 10 times after finishing editing it and uploading it, just because I still enjoy watching it and it still makes me laugh. Will it make you laugh? I don't know. That's the thing, you never know what's going to make someone laugh. Sometimes I say things in my Let's Plays that apparently you people find hilarious, but I didn't even mean it to be funny, it's just something I didn't even think about. Other times I try to be funny, and it just falls completely flat, you know? I don't think I'm a very funny person, but, you know, that's why I don't really try and make comedy videos that bad, but you know. Well, what other plans for 2017? I've got some ideas, I don't want to spoil all of them, but certainly let me know if you have anything you'd like to see me cover on the channel. Final Fantasy 15, you might have noticed I only really mentioned that once in this video. There's probably a review out for it by now, but again, I don't know how long the game's going to take me to beat. Currently, as of time of writing and recording this, I've beaten the story, but I'm still doing the post-game content. I'm gonna do a review, and I think I might like to do a Let's Play as well. I usually don't like to Let's Play really long games, but I think maybe with 15 I could do like a New Game Plus Let's Play. You know, ignore all the side quests, because those would frankly be kind of boring to watch. I mean, I don't mind playing them, as I just really enjoy the atmosphere and the world of 15, but I think in a Let's Play that would be bad. I'd probably just stick to the story content, and if I'm in New Game Plus I probably wouldn't need to worry about leveling, because I'm probably gonna be level 99. But what I am waiting for, they just announced today in fact, like as I woke up, they said they're going to be patching the game to, well, they've already announced a PlayStation Pro patch, which is gonna hopefully make the game 60 FPS, and you can tell this video's unscripted by the way, can't you? But yeah, they're gonna be releasing a patch that is hopefully 60 FPS. They've also announced more patches to try and improve the overall quality of the game, and if you finish 15 you will know the end of the game is very patchy, by which I mean there's holes in it and it needs to be patched. They're going to be adding like cutscenes and making chapter 13 suck less, hopefully, so I might wait for the game to be completely patched, shall we say, till there's no more new content besides DLC being added. Then I might do a Let's Play of just the story content, if that is something you think you would like to see. I'll also probably cover the DLC at some point, because I've enjoyed Final Fantasy 15 a lot, I have to admit, and that was a really pleasant surprise for me, to be honest, especially when I hated the game when it was announced. Thank you so much for watching though, whether you've been watching for a month, a year, or since I started, back in early 2013. I really appreciate your support. It is thanks to you guys that I am able to do this at all. I hope you continue to support me in the future. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, suggestions, or anything like that, you know what to do. Hit me up on Twitter, or in the comments below, or on email, anywhere you feel like. I have to admit though, it's a little weird getting messages on Facebook and stuff, so best ways to catch me are YouTube, because I check that every day. I'm on Twitter pretty much 24/7. That's a lie, because I'm not on Twitter when I'm sleeping, but I'm on Twitter pretty much whenever I'm awake, so Twitter or YouTube. I check YouTube twice a day, Twitter all day. I'll reply ASAP, because I like talking to you guys, apart from when you're being stupid. Actually, you know what, I don't mind when you're being stupid, but there'll always be trolls who just leave dumbass comments, and I genuinely cannot understand the mindset of that. Like, who goes out of their way to try and upset other people? Like, you would have to be a very sad person. Fortunately, I don't really get much of that. I'm not really talking so much from my perspective, but when I watch, like, good example, I remember Epic Name Bro's Dark Souls 3 playthrough when it came out. I was watching that, and so many of the comments were, like, so horrible. You would think that Epic Name Bro had, like, gone around to these people's houses and drop-kicked them in the neck or something. It's like, why is there so much vitriol and hatred? I don't know, man. You should be excellent to your fellow humans, even the ones who are kind of stupid. Because, you know, sometimes they're the ones who need the niceness all the more, you know? Well, that was a weird note to end on, but how was your 2016? If it was good, I hope this year's even better. And if it sucked, well, I hope 2017 takes a turn for the better. See you soon. Take care.